Conditions are worsening in Louisiana, and with Hurricane Francine fast approaching, the U.S. National Weather Service and the National Hurricane Center have issued tornado warnings. Officials are predicting more warnings are going to keep coming in the next few hours as Francine inches closer to landfall. It currently maintains Category 1 strength. Officials in New Orleans held a news conference earlier and provided an update on the situation.
You're going to see conditions start to diminish. Rain will start to pick up. Winds will start to pick up and get gustier. Critically, around 6 p.m. tonight, that's the time, seriously, to be indoors, be off the roads, hunker down, and be prepared to spend the night with family, with friends, indoors through about 6 to 7 a.m.
CBC News science and climate specialist Darius Madavi is following the storm's trajectory and joins us now. So, Darius, what's the latest?
Well, as we heard, the time to evacuate has passed in Louisiana. As the storm continues to approach, because landfall is now imminent within the next few hours, officials are telling people to hunker down. They've also noted that officials in New Orleans actually have noted that the 911 reliability is better than it has ever been, and they've made extra preparations in advance of this storm because it is expected to be so severe. Now, again, within the next few hours, likely between 6 and 7 p.m. tonight, Francine will make landfall. The eye of the storm, the worst of it, passing over just west of New Orleans. Now, if we zoom in here, you can take a look at the storm. Its eye has become more defined in just the last 24 hours or so as the storm has continued to pick up strength. So residents can expect wind speeds up to 160 or 150 kilometers per hour, as well as some very, very heavy rainfall and lots of lightning storms with potentially some tornadoes embedded within those storms. Now, again, we've watched the storm strengthen from a tropical storm into a hurricane. It's been moving closer to land over the last few hours, and we've seen those hurricane warnings and tropical storm warnings issued as a result. Within the next few hours, again, making landfall and then continuing up through. It'll lose strength very quickly as it passes land without those warm ocean waters to pull up strength from, but it will still be potentially have some potentially devastating effects as it tracks north through Louisiana into Mississippi and then up into some more northern states. And a lot of that moisture will be held, so expect to see some very heavy rainfall in the days ahead, pretty much across the southeastern United States.
Yeah, and how widespread could the impacts be?
Right, so this is the important thing. I know we're talking a lot about Louisiana and about New Orleans and the impacts we're expecting to see on the coast there, but the impacts are going to be a lot more widespread than just that. Again, take a look at the satellite imagery from this storm, and then we're going to zoom in and take a look at those watches and warnings. We saw that the tropical or the hurricane warnings are fairly confined to parts of the coast, but if we expand those warnings to see the others, you can see just how much damage could be done by the storm. And this is just within the next 24 hours. You can see lots of coastal flood warnings in place, many flood watches, tornado watches, hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings in place, pretty much blanketing the Louisiana coastline into the Mississippi coast, as well as parts of the Texas coast. And inland, very far inland, seeing some of those tropical storm warnings as well. And the reason for that is those wind speeds will remain high even as the storm tracks inland. So the red area you see in the middle there, those are hurricane force winds. Yellow is tropical storm force winds, and orange are very powerful winds sort of in between those two. And you can see maintaining those hurricane force winds even as it gets into Mississippi, and then those tropical storm force winds don't die off until really overnight, tonight into tomorrow. So again, very strong impacts there. And again, if we take a look at the rain and the lightning storms happening in some areas, those downpours could bring as much as 250 millimeters of rain. I know that the legend there doesn't include that much rain, so I just added purple there is 250 to 500 millimeters of rainfall in some of these areas. So flooding is very much a possibility in many of these places, in addition to those wind warnings. So right now, per the officials' advice, to hunker down really is the best way forward until we can get a better picture of the situation in the days ahead.
Darius, thank you. CBC News science and climate specialist Darius Madavi.